Hello, this is Intro to Inequalities, and I'm Mrs. Jones, which you already know. All right, so what are our learning objectives? They are I will be able to discuss inequalities using mathematical terms. Um, and I can graph an inequality on a number line. And our last one is I can write an inequality given a graph on a number line. So what is an inequality? Well, an inequality is something that looks like A is less than B. So here it is in symbols. We read it as A is less than B. And what it means is A is to the left of B on a number line. So on this number line, A is a lower number than B. Here we have C and then the greater than sign in D, and we read it C is greater than D. And that means that C is to the right of D on the number line. So C is a greater value than D. And then we also have not equals. E is not equal to F, and it just means that E is not the same point as F. As you can see, they are distinctly different. Okay, so inequalities contain at least one variable and consist of two expressions with an inequality symbol, such as less than, greater than, or equal, but not equal between them. Examples: 3x is less than 24. 3 is greater than x plus 7. And x minus 3 is not equal to 7. What is a replacement set? The replacement set are the possible values for the variable in an inequality, and we use the set of all real numbers as the replacement set in Algebra 1. So how do we solve an inequality? Well, we're going to solve an inequality by finding all the real numbers that make the inequality true. These don't have one number answers typically. They have a range of numbers. So for example, x is less than -2. Values like -3, -7.6, and -100, they all make this inequality true. But values like 2, 0, and -2 make this inequality false. We can't list every real number in the solution set, so we are going to use a number line to show it. So here is our number line, and here is our inequality, x is less than -2. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put an open circle on the value that isn't the variable. And an open circle is just a circle that's not filled in. It's the outline of a circle, not a filled in circle. Next, we're going to draw an arrow from that circle that shows all the possible solutions. Well, how do we determine which way to make that arrow? Well, if our inequality has the variable to the left of the inequality sign, then all we have to do is look at the direction that the inequality is pointing. This guy is pointing to the left. If we turn it into an arrow, it tells us that we're going to draw our arrow to the left. If it was greater than, we would draw our arrow to the right. This only works if the letter is first. Well, what if the number is first? What if it does not like me to do that. All right, well, if the number is first, just like equations, we can reverse the sides of the inequalities. But unlike equations, we have to reverse the symbol as well. So this says -2 is greater than x. Notice that the small part of the inequality points to x. When we reverse the inequality by putting the x on the left and the number on the right, we also have to reverse the inequality sign so that it's always the little side pointing to x. So -2 is greater than x becomes x is less than -2. And that's our graph. How do we write an inequality from a graph? Well, first we choose a variable. Any letter will do. I'm going to use J for Jones. Identify the number that has the open circle. In this case, it's 0. Identify which direction the solution set points and match it to your inequality. So if the solution set arrow points to the left, we're going to use less than. If it points to the right, we're going to use greater than. This one points to the left, so our inequality is going to be J is less than 0. Notice that the inequality, if I turn it into an arrow, it points the same way as the arrow on my number line. All right, so we are going to graph these inequalities. I'm going to make my head go away. All right, so here we go. If b is greater than 6, I am going to, can I make my pen wider? And it's a highlighter. All right, I am going to look at my value, 6. I'm going to put my open circle on +6. And b is greater than, so this is pointing to the right. So this is my solution. My circle at 6 and the arrow to the right. M is greater than 3, so I'm going to put an open circle on 3, and I'm going to draw my arrow to the right. X is greater than 5. Oh, these are all greater than. Open circle on 5, greater than is to the right. V is less than -6, so I'm going to find my -6, and this is less than, so I'm going to point my arrow to the left. 3 is less than A. I need to reverse this, so I'm going to switch the A and the 3, and then I'm going to reverse the inequality so that the wide part still points to the A. So now I have A is greater than 3. I'm going to put my circle on 3, and I am going to draw my arrow to the right. Do you have to rewrite it? No. But if you want to match the arrow direction and the inequality direction, you should. So this is 5 is greater than X. I am going to reverse my inequality because the letter isn't first. So I swapped places here. And then I am going to keep the small part pointing to the x by reversing the inequality. So I have x is less than 5. That's not too bad. All right, and now we are going to write the inequality from a graph. So our first step is pick a letter, any letter. I am going to go with x for simplicity's sake. Now, the number where the open circle is a 6. And my solution set arrow points to the left, so I'm going to make my inequality match. Here I'm going to write x, the value is 2. My solution set points to the right, so it must be greater than. Same thing here, x, circle is at -6, and the arrow points to the left, so it's less than. Excuse me. All right, here I have x and 3, arrow points to the right, so it's greater than. X and 5, arrow points to the left, so it's less than, and then I have x and 5 again. Oh, this is negative 5. This is negative 3. Pay attention. Don't be a... Signs matter. Remember, I always yell that, but then I don't think of it myself. Here we go. All right, so x is less than negative 5. All right, so that is how you write an inequality from a graph.